last night there was a stream. It really shouldn't have happened. I had a chat with Charles Willis Credia. He is a good friend and a fellow initiative member until recently, although he had been on break for a while. His wish to no longer be part of the initiative is 100% understandable because honestly, spending time debunking chuds can be draining. He did choose to contact Grey Poupe and do a stream on his channel. Grey Poupe is a small YouTuber who has dedicated the vast majority of his videos to shitting on the initiative. This isn't as understandable from my perspective, but so be it. The goal of last night's stream was twofold. Number one, to allow Charles to explain his side of the story and for him to provide some pushback to the narrative currently being spread by Ripverse Colboast. And number two, to provide some pushback to some of the stuff he said about the initiative. It was pretty much complete failure at one of those things and didn't do great at the other. Despite recent events, I want this to be a good stream where some hard questions were asked and real answers could be provided in a good exchange, and we could do the stream in an entirely friendly manner. It did not go well in many aspects, so that stream is currently private and will not be reposted. In the end, he is a good friend, and I want that friendship maintained throughout this. I just have concerns about his new friends.
Yeah, this almost year now of the initiative has been it's been a pretty incredible journey for me. I've made amazing friends, had a lot of fun, done what I feel like is some pretty good work overall. I've become better for it. We know we're pretty small, we don't think we're like huge or anything like that, but in the grand scheme of things, but we somehow have developed like a little ecosphere of some channels that have really dedicated themselves to just coming at us nonstop, like exclusively us. It's weird. They lie, they misrepresent the truth, and they'll use facts to attempt to paint us as hypocrites. And sometimes maybe we are hypocritical. Everyone can be. But when they fixate on this instead of the real harm and obviously harmful rhetoric espoused by the people they're fans of, or that they run defense for, it reveals an ethical and moral fault on their part. We are accountable for our mistakes, and we will answer to one another and others that we know are acting in good faith. We will never answer to anyone who's defending the creators that we typically cover on this channel. And just because we aren't perfect people, just because we fuck up sometimes, it doesn't excuse the constant, intentional, monetized bigotry and grifting perpetrated by members of Comicsgate, Fandom Menace, EFAP, Rippaverse, etc., so on. There's no morality in thinking that it does. We don't think people should be perfect, only that they should learn and do better. But if you think calling out hypocrisy, whether it's valid or not, negates patterns of hateful language and content, your moral compass is not one that we value. So yeah, sadly, as Bob talked about, Charles, who someone I saw as a friend and an ally, collaborator, and despite whatever said about me, I unfortunately he seems to have decided to make friends with a couple of guys who have really become almost our shadows. Some of you may be aware of how that played out, like yesterday and prior to that and stuff. And I'm asking you to not take part in tribalism. If you're fans of my channel, of Bob's, of anybody's channel that with the initiative here, and you're like, just here for the reasons that we hope people are here for. Don't take part in tribalism. Don't take part in he said, she said, he said, whatever. Name calling, character assassination doesn't fucking benefit anybody. However, for my part, I take complete accountability for what some see as mistakes that I've made. And I'm just not sure. I hear it from different people. I really don't know. So I'm taking accountability anyway. I shared DM screenshots out of a desperate need to defend what I feel are very clear false claims being made about me. I believe the screenshots did that. I believe that they, debunked some of those things. But they were also a step too far for my friend and my collaborator, Bob, Organized Chaos. And some have told me that it was justified, and then some have told me it's not. But having hurt my friend, or having done anything that's even remotely interpreted as somehow bringing someone's family into this stuff. For that I am regretful. For that I am not proud. Okay, and I apologize to any harm or potential harm or perceived harm that those could have done. I believe, though, that it's wholly unreasonable to ignore or dismiss the events that led to these mistakes, including someone who I trusted and considered a friend, which isn't something I do easily. Out of the blue, deciding to ally with two people who have dedicated their entire online presence to stalking, harassing, smearing, slandering, threatening, not just me, not just the other guys in this group, but then like my co-host of my other show that's not even part of the initiative. And engaging in some pretty atrocious fucking language about just all around. And I think that context is important to keep in mind, that my mistakes made, if you feel that that's what they were made under duress and out of like kind of just a desperate moment, and I do apologize for them. That said, these guys have also not, and I'm not talking about Charles here, I'm talking about these other guys. They've brought my family into it. They've brought, they've mentioned my children. They've painted narratives about me, and I just think all that stuff needs to be recorded. And other than that, I don't want to address any of this anymore.
I guess it's my turn. Am I the drama? I feel like I'm the drama sometime. Are the questions about me? Are you guys talking about me again? Listen. This is something that I've waited a really long time to do, because you guys are pretty much garbage people. Like, by you guys, I mean Gray, Pooh, whatever, and Patrick. And let me explain why. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. First, let's get that out there. You can think whatever you want about me, call me a hypocrite, clip the fuck out of this. Please do it. Please do that. Rip-a-verse piece of shit website. Okay, so let's just do this. You keep bringing up these fucking questions. Let me explain how this happened, because everybody's heard everyone else talk about this except for me, and it was my fucking DMs with Patrick that it came from that. So at the end of May, I commented on some random person's post where they said that cisgender was a slur. And I said cisgender can be used as an insult, but cisgender is not a slur. There's a difference. You can insult somebody without something being a slur. Patrick decided, like he does quite often, trolling Twitter looking for trans topics, because that's what he does in his spare time. Patrick, go to his Twitter and type trans in the search, and you will see him having plenty of conversations about trans people on Twitter. It's almost exclusively what he talks about on Twitter. But he decided he wanted to jump in my conversation. And so I had to put on the big boy pants and explain to him why cisgender is not a slur. That didn't go well for him. I made several videos about it, and he kept doing all of this dumb shit going back and forth with me. And then we ended up in DMs. The DMs were going to be a conversation, not a debate, because I don't want to debate. So let's have a conversation. So I went into this thinking, this is a person that has been really shitty to just about every single member of my podcast. And I wanted to kind of sit back and go, hey, maybe there is a conversation to be had. Maybe there's something we could talk about here. So we went back and forth a little bit. And at this point, it was the beginning of Pride Month. I was very busy. There was a lot of things going on. And so he sent over some questions. At first glance, because I was very busy when I looked at them, they looked very generic. To be honest, they were generic questions. There wasn't very much there specific about me or anybody I associate with or anything along those lines. So I thought, this can't be true. This is too good to be true, right? There has to be something else going on here. So because I'm not a piece of, human garbage, I assumed that this was all done with the best intention. Maybe there is another side to Patrick that isn't just him using comedy as a shield to say nasty shit about gay and trans people. Maybe there's another side to him. Maybe there's another side to Gray than sitting around being pedantic when it favors his argument instead of being general when it favors, someone else's argument. Maybe that's possible. However, I thought it was in my best interest as somebody who has been a target of these attacks from these guys. I've been, as somebody who's part of a marginalized community, to say, hey, maybe I should get a second set of eyes on these questions. Maybe I should have someone sort of, from my podcast who's most certainly going to be part of the topic of conversation when I go on stream with these guys. Maybe I should have them look at these questions to see if there's anything in here that I am missing. Maybe I'm overlooking something. I'm probably not, because I'm very street smart, but maybe there is something in here that I'm missing. So I said, hey, you guys, my podcast partners, will you take a look at these questions and tell me if there's anything in here that looks really fucked up, because maybe I'm missing something. Probably very similarly how Patrick was sharing all the details of his DMs with me with his podcast partner, Grey Poupe. It's probably something we both did. Then after I shared the questions, it was sort of put out there that, yeah, these look a little sketchy. The questions look a little weird. They could be used in a insidious way. They may be harmless, but based on track record and patterns of behavior, it's probably most likely that I would be put in a position to answer questions in a way that was not going to come across favorably for me. So I had to think about it, decide whether I wanted to do it or not do it. Close to the end of the month, Dane asked me if he cared if I used the questions. The truth be told, the questions are generic. I don't give a fuck if you talk about them or not. However, I didn't know if he wanted to use them on a video for him or if he wanted to do them on a podcast. I had no idea what the intention with the questions were, and it doesn't really matter because they were fucking generic questions. I will die on that hill. The questions were not specific or unique. They were very generic. Anyway, so Dane used them on one of his podcasts. I was working, so I was not present at that podcast. I wake up the next day. All of my DMs with Patrick are completely posted, or at least the majority of them are completely posted publicly on Twitter. They're shared with accounts like, I think it was Fandom Initiative Taking L, some other stupid accounts, maybe Rippaverse Goalposts, a bunch of those stupid like hate accounts getting tagged in those without ever contacting me to ask me what actually happened. Immediately trying to smear my name, immediately trying to make me a target of being attacked without even finding out what went down. I reached out to Patrick. We had a conversation about it. I took full accountability for sharing the questions. I left a very long message explaining why I didn't think it was good for us to move forward, because neither of us were going into this with the best intentions. Obviously, at this point, I would be going in with issues. He would be going in with issues. I thought it was a moot point by then to move forward with any kind of a stream with them. I was the last person to write. I never heard back from Gray. I never heard back from Patrick. Eventually, we went on to just never speak again, not even in comments or anything along those lines. Anytime I've been asked about the questions, and anytime I've been, it's been offered up to me to debate them or whatever, I don't want to talk about them. I don't think it's really an important thing. I took accountability for it. I've said it several times that yes, I shared the questions because I felt like I could be put in a position to be basically attacked by two people on a stream based on what they've been doing to us all along. And I don't feel bad about that, but I do take responsibility for doing that. That is exactly what happened. That is exactly how it went down from beginning to end. And now I have continuously heard for months about these fucking questions when we all know that those guys also engaged in fucked up shit. Whether it happened before or after the questions, the proof is there that they did not have good intentions. So that's it. Fuck Grey Poupe. Fuck Patrick. Fuck Rippaverse Goalposts. Fuck all the chuds out there that have anything to say. I will not speak on this ever again. And you can miss me with that bullshit. Let's cue the intro.
We're about inclusiveness and we want new people in.
The Fandom Initiative.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Re-educate me? They're more than welcome to try.
Don't.